Nephilim among us, the Nephilim among us. Obviously the ancients cared about demigods, but surely modern people have evolved beyond this cult of hybrid demigods. Is the subject of the Nephilim a mere tangent? We've covered in the first session that we name our planets after the Nephilim, we name our days after the Nephilim, we name our months after the Nephilim, we name our chemicals after the Nephilim, and we name some of our continents and an ocean after the Nephilim. But surely we, modern people, have evolved beyond this now. Would you agree?
UFOs are real, burgeoning, and not going away. This is the coming great deception.
The American people are ready to receive the truth.
Humanity is not the only intelligence in the universe.
Humanity is not the only intelligent species.
We are absolutely not alone. Non-human intelligence exists.
UAPs are real, they're here, and they're not human.
For over 16 years, on behalf of the U.S. government, I worked as a senior intelligence official on the unidentified aerial phenomenon topic.
We learned that the U.S. government was involved in a long-running secret war with other nations to collect and reverse engineer vehicles not made by humans.
I have seen with my own eyes non-human craft and non-human beings.
There's another thing. It's mutated. There's a whole fleet of them.
You better be careful about a government that doesn't trust its people, because there's no telling what they'll pull on you.
And I prayed about it, and I thought, I'm not missing that dedication in Jerusalem. He made that airplane so cheap for me, I couldn't help but buy it.
Okay, all right, but I want to get to the demons, because people are tube with a bunch of demons. Do you really believe that human beings are demons?
No, I do not. And don't you ever say I did. We wrestle not with flesh and blood, but principalities and powers. And I prayed about
you do not believe in the flat earth theories. And when the flat earth thing came around, I said, okay, what's this about? You know, and then I listened to some of the flat earth stuff, and you know what? Some of the stuff made sense. I was like, that kind of makes sense. Dave, why you are against what he believes? How about that?
Yeah, flat earth is the dumbest hoax in human history.
Respectful talk about the stupidest shit. Like if he was in this room, I'd be smacking the shit out of him right now.
You do not believe in the flat earth.
I'm amazed of how many people from the black community are telling me to go back to Mexico, telling Mexicans to go back to Mexico, because we're illegal and it's a crime. In the past, black people needed Mexicans. Right now, Mexicans need you guys. God give us things give us blessings, but he can take them away so fast. So you need to be humble. You need to be humble. I'm amazed of
history and built the greatest economy in the history of the world. We were at a level that nobody had ever seen before. Our country is doing really badly under them, and nobody wants to talk about it. The media doesn't like talking about it because the Democrats, they really protect themselves. It's pretty amazing. Most importantly, we're going to bring back a thing called the American dream. The American dream is dead. Right now, the American dream is dead. We're going to bring back the American dream.
What Bonhoeffer wrote, the reason that there would be no church in this country if it were not for the black church is because when he came here, the white church had gotten so intellectual that they've moved away from Jesus and the experience of Jesus working in your life. He would just go to the African churches, to the African American churches, to the black churches, and there's where he would fellowship. And he found them also able to run at the intellectual level. He credits the black church for keeping the only semblance of the power of God in a person's life. The black church has been critical, not just good for the church in the United States, but critical for its survival has been the black church.
All right, guys, I'm doing a quick testing. 1 second. All right, all sounds good. All sounds great. Okay, shalom, most high, blessed to you guys. Oh my goodness, I'm so thankful to be here with you all. I do apologize for the delay. I didn't have all kinds of things that just all of a sudden wanted to just pop up, like my internet. You know, the cable guy, he told me, he said, he said that my internet router and my equipment was 4 years old. So I guess it was just time. But I hate that it chose the time I wanted to go live, you know. Anyway, let me get in here. Let me say my shaloms and shalawams to those of you. Thank you all so much for coming out with me. Shalom to you, Rachel. Thank you so much, my sis Marilyn. If you're still there, William the Slayer, Most High Blessed, Notorious Hebrew, Meech in the STL. If you're still there, Shalom, Notorious Hebrew, all you guys out there. Okay, guys, so I have a really nice presentation. Shalom, Timothy. Good to see you. All right, guys, so this is what's going on. Trying to get things, you know, back up and running. I have a debate that I'm working on. So hopefully, you know, that'll be something that's coming, as well as, you know, trying to get more information out here and be more, you know, productive, as well as making sure that I actually come through with that, right? So I just want to make sure that you guys know that I have a lot of good information that I want to get out, bringing a new school of thought, new look and a new outlook on things, right? And that's the thing, is we all need to look at other perspectives, because there's truth in all things, but then again, there's lies that cover it. But okay, guys, so I'm getting ready to be presenting this presentation. Let's get to it. All right, guys, I'm getting that together. All right, Okay. All right. So there is a hidden history that has been obfuscated from us. What is obfuscated? What does that mean? That means that it's an action of making something obscure, unclear, and unintelligible. So there's a hidden history, right? And it's been obfuscated from us. And what they've done is they've provided some truths mixed with a whole lot of lies, right? They made it unclear and unintelligible. So I want to give a big warm welcome to my truth seekers, my independent researchers, and my independent thinkers. Shout out to you guys. You guys are what makes this happen for all of us. You know, we all are out here reading and not just taking their information as valid. We go in and we question that information, and we're not afraid to do that. Even if it sounds crazy, even if it makes us look crazy, we're all on the voyage to find the truth. So I say, let the games begin. All right, so let's go. So we're going to be taking a biblical and a historical look at the offspring of Esau and Seir the Horite. People tend to leave him out. Seir the Horite, you don't hear about him, even though all throughout the Bible and all throughout the book, he's literally mentioned right alongside of Esau, right? The Horite, Seir. And right here is where Seir, this is where the Horites, or what you would want to call, this is Petra, this is where they lived, and this is when Esau came in and he took over his line. Well, let's continue on. All right, so there was a confederacy that was set up against us, children of Israel, against the Edomites. Also, let me make sure I say this. I want to give a shout out to one of my subscribers. He actually asked me to do a presentation on Esau, do a presentation on the Edomites. And, you know, it's been a lot going on, but I finally was able to sit down, and I wanted to also make sure I researched it, make sure I presented this to you guys, you know, in the best way that I can. And so I took some time to do a little research, and this is what I came up with. And if you guys at the end of this presentation have any questions, you want to come on, you want to talk with me, please do not hesitate. So let's get it started. All right, so there was a confederacy the Edomites had against the children of Israel. So a lot of people bring up Psalm 83, 1-8. And it says, keep not thou silence, O God, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel. So right here it says they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. So they have said, come on, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. So these people, all of them linked together to cut us off, and they formed a confederacy. So here at the bottom, we see the tabernacles of Edom. So when you hear a lot of these people teach this lesson, they always talk about Edom, right? So we see Edom, we see the Ishmaelites, we see Moab, we see the Hagarenes, Gebal, Ammon, and Amalek. And it says the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. So you probably are like, when they're telling you, always talking about the Canaanites. So shouldn't the Canaanites be a part of this confederacy? And they are. They are the inhabitants of Tyre. See, when we look here, like I said, this presentation is going to be historical, biblical, and as well, of course, archaeological. So here we have the land of Tyre and the home of the Phoenician Canaanites. So Tyre, when it says the inhabitants of Tyre, it's speaking on the land of Tyre, which is the land of the Phoenician Canaanites, and we can verify that with the Britannica. So it says here it was a major Phoenician seaport. Okay, so right there, and this is a remembrance, a little bit of it, you know, this entrance way, and One day I'm going to be teaching on this entrance, because this entrance way actually is it's a gateway, and it's called an Ishtar gate. So we're going to get into that, but right now we're talking about Esau. But let's keep going. So it says this scripture talks about how the Israelites were under. Now this scripture here, this is 2 Samuel 24. And it says this scripture talks about how the Israelites were under the stronghold of the Canaanites. So a lot of people want to talk about these Canaanites again with these big plates in their lips. They're outside, they're eating, I don't know, who knows what. They're got their heads up a cow's butt. All kind of videos that I've seen. I'm sure you've seen them too. But no, that's not what the Canaanites are doing. Let's keep going. So 2 Samuel 24, King James Version, and it says, again and again, the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel. So, of course, the Most High, he continues to get upset with us. And it says, and he moved David against them to say, go number Israel and Judah. It says, for the king said to Joab, the captain of the host, which was with him, go now through all the tribes of Israel, from Dan even to Beersheba, and number ye the people, that I may know the number of the people. So right here, they're numbering the people. However, we're going to jump down a little bit. It says, notwithstanding, the kings were prevailed against Joab and against the captains of the host. And Joab and the captains of the host went out from the presence of the king to number the people of Israel. And they passed over Jordan and pitched in Aurora on the right side of the city that lieth in the midst of the river of Gad, and towards Jazer. And then it says here, then they came to Gilead and to the land of the Tatim Hosh. Let's try to say this word with me, guys. Tatim Hoshdi. I can't even say it. And they came to Dajan and about to Zidon. So here, where does it say? It says, and came to the stronghold of Tyre, and to all the cities of the Hivites and of the Canaanites, and they went south of Judah. So right there lets you know that they came to the stronghold of Tyre and the Canaanites and the Hivites. So right there is letting us know that the Canaanites were very strong and very powerful, to the point where the Israelites actually came under the strong hold of theirs. And we see that in 2 Samuel 24. Now, in this chapter, we speak on how the Idumeans, who is Esau, and the Mount Seir, who are the Hivites, found pleasure in the downfall of Israel. So when you see over here, this is actually where the Hivites lived. This is Petra, right there. So it says in Ezekiel 35:15, and it says, as thou didst rejoice. So like I said here, they found pleasure in the downfall of Israel. The Idumeans as well as the Hivites, they found pleasure. Ezekiel 35:15, as thou didst rejoice at the inheritance of the house of Israel, because it was desolate, so will I do unto thee. Thou shalt be desolate, O Mount Seir, and all Idumea, even all of it, and they shall know that I am the Lord. So right here it says, as thou didst rejoice. So what it's saying is they were happy, they were rejoicing, they were glad, because the Israelites had lost their house, right? They lost it. And he says that they inherited the Mount Seir, which is the Hivites, and Esau. They absorbed the land of Israel at this time. And so the Most High was like, you're happy, but don't worry, the same thing I did to them, I'm going to do to you while you over there happy, right? So let's keep going though. So these scriptures here exposes the hatred the Canaanites, Mount Seir, have for the children of Israel. So this whole thing I'm building up because we're getting ready to understand who these people really are. So this is Ezekiel 35, chapter 35. It says, moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it, and say unto it, Thus saith the Lord, Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee the most desolate. And I will lay the cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. So right here in Ezekiel chapter 35 is talking about Mount Seir. Well, who is Mount Seir? Mount Seir is named after Seir, the Horite, and the Horite is a Canaanite. And we're going to get into how I know that, and then we all would know that. Let's keep going. So who are the Horites, right? Because the Horites are who is linked to Mount Seir. And we see in this chapter that the Most High is saying, hey, you need to pay attention to Mount Seir and prophesy against them, because Mount Seir is against us. It's against our people. And they had a perpetual hatred that they were shedding the blood of the children of Israel. So what we see here is that the Mount Seir or the Canaanites have a jealousy. They have a problem with us, a perpetual hatred. So the Most High is telling us to direct our attention to Mount Seir. But, you know, nobody has even heard of Mount Seir. Everybody's looking at Esau, everybody's looking at everything else, but none of us have actually taken a look at Mount Seir when it tells us to direct our attention to them. So who are the Horites? So it says here in Deuteronomy 2:12, it says the Horites, right here, also dwelt in Seir before time, but the children of Esau succeeded them when they had destroyed them from before them and dwelt in their stead. And Israel did unto the land of his possession, which the Lord gave unto them. So right here it tells us that the Horites, or the Horites, dwelt in Seir before the children of Esau came in. So what does that mean? It's that before, you know, the Edomites came in and took over Mount Seir, it was owned by the Seir, the Horites. Now, it says the Horites were the original inhabitants of the land of Edom. These were the sons of Seir, the Horites, who were living in the region before it became known as Edom. It says we don't know a lot. So according to this post, they're saying that they don't know a lot about their history, but what they do know is that the word Horite means a cave dweller. Let's make a mental note of that. A Horite means cave dwellers. They lived in caves and found in the mountain ranges of Mount Seir. So remember, the Horites are the ones that lived in Mount Seir. And right here, we know that before Esau lived in this land, it was lived by the Horites first. Okay. So it says outside the Bible, outside the Bible, they are known. Why do I keep doing that? Let me stop that. So it says outside the Bible, they are known as the Horites. So this group of people actually have a lot of nicknames. You know, it can get a little confusing, right? Not only are they called the Horites in Deuteronomy 2:12, they're also called the Horites, right, in the Bible. And then we see that they're also called in history the Horites. Now, you know, are they doing this on purpose? But the thing is that we know their names now. We understand that a Horite is a Horim, and a Horin or a Horite is a Hurrian. Okay? So it says originally they were an independent nation, as we know from 14:6. But it says they were partially exterminated, but also partially subjugated by Esau, according to Deuteronomy 2:22. It says the Horites who survived intermarried with the Edomites and were absorbed by them. It says two were mentioned in the chapter. Esau's son Eliphaz had a concubine named Timnah. So right here, what they're showcasing is, the thing is that we know that they were battled. You know, the Edomites came in and they fought the Horites. So what they're saying here is that the ones that did survive, they said they intermarried with the Edomites. And they're saying that they were absorbed by them. But what we know is that there are other Hivites or Horites located around the world, but in this region, this is the ones that were left. And guess what? They intermarried with them. Okay. So let's look here. So this is the key. This is according to the King James Bible Dictionary. It says that the Horites were cavemen, a race of troglodytes who dwelt in limestone caves which abounded in Edom. So again, I'm making a big deal about these Horites because they're all over Edom. They're all over Esau. This is a big deal, but nobody seems to talk about them, even though just as much as you see Edom, you're going to see a Horite, you're going to see all these different names because they are important. And what is a Horite? Horite means caveman. It means a race of troglodytes who dwelt in limestone caves which abounded in Edom. It says their ancestor was Seir, who probably gave his name to the district where he lived. So according to this dictionary, it's letting us know that a Horite is a caveman, a race of troglodytes who lived within the limestone caves, and their ancestor was Seir the Horite, and he gave his name to their land, right? Mount Seir was named after Seir the Horite, who were the Hivites. Let's look here. They were a branch of Hivites. What is a Hivite? A Hivite is a Canaanite. Whoa, 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 stop the show. Stop the show. What is a Horite? A Horite is a Canaanite. It's a Hivite. So a Horite is a Hivite who is a caveman, a race of troglodytes. I know, guys. We're getting into it today, though. We're getting into it, okay? You're going to have to watch this a couple of times and make sure you share and hit the like button and subscribe. I'm bringing a new school of thought. So what I'm doing here is you take this information, you take a look at it, you investigate it, you research it, and then you come back and let me know what you think, right? But okay, let's keep going. So the Hivite was a Horite, and they all abounded in Edom. No, they weren't in Africa. This is where they were. They were in Petra. It was originally named Mount Seir. So they were a branch of Hivites, which were Canaanites. They were depossessed by the descendants of Esau, and as a people gradually became extinct. Now they want to say that they were extinct, but what happened is that they became, they mixed in with the Edomites, okay? They mixed in with them. So here in Genesis 36:2, it says Esau took his wife of the daughters of Canaan, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and Aholibamah, the daughter of Anah, the daughter of Zibeon the Hivite. So right here, we see where it says Zibeon is a Hivite, and we know that that's the one he married, his daughter, who was a Hivite. Again, Zibeon was a Hivite. And this scripture here, Genesis 36:20, it says, these are the sons of Seir the Horite, who inhabited the land, Lotan, Shobal, and who? Zibeon. So this is just verification. This is just scriptures that actually that showcase to us that the Horite, Seir the Horite, was the father of Zibeon, whose daughter is who Esau married, who were Hivites. They were Canaanites. So originally Esau married the Hivites, who also were the Horites. And I'm getting ready to get to the point where I'm emphasizing this, okay? But keep bearing with me. We're building. Okay, so this is what they say a troglodyte looks like. This is what when you just Google what a troglodyte is, this is what they try to say this is what they looked like. This is their interpretation. So here we have, again, the Horites. The Horite just means caveman. It's just a nickname. They were Hivites. All that means is they were cavemen, Hivites. Okay, but let's keep going. So who are troglodytes? Again, a troglodyte is a cave dweller, from the Greek trogo, which means hole. So we see that a troglodyte is a cave dweller. So here it says a prehistoric cave dweller, a person of degraded, primitive, or brutal character, a person living in seclusion, a person unacquainted with affairs of the world, and it says an animal living underground. So a troglodyte is pretty much when you're referring it to a human, it's a prehistoric cave dweller is how they interpretate that, which we would call a caveman. That's what a troglodyte is. And who they're linking a troglodyte to, they call them all throughout the Bible a Horite, which means caveman, which means cave dweller, right? So let's take a look at this here, guys. Watch this. All right. So the Hivites or the Hittites were troglodytes and were very advanced technologically. I know that sounds crazy, right? The Canaanites, what do you mean they're technologically advanced? And they also were a subterranean people that lived in the underground. That's why they call them troglodytes, because it says that they lived in caves, but they lived underground. However, and what I'm showing you is an actual real image, a drone shot of what they built. This is real. You can actually go travel. You can actually go see it. This is located in Turkey. I'm sorry, it's not in Africa. It's in Turkey. So this is actually where the Hivites or the Hittites, troglodytes, they built this. And the Hittite Empire, which is in Turkey. And it's Anatolia. Now, this is what it looks like above ground. And then you have, this is what it looks like below ground. So not only do they have stuff above, they also have stuff beneath. And we have to think about how advanced technologically they are, being a subterranean people, because to build underground would be classified, right? I mean, to build underground, you would have to have some form of lighting. I mean, you can't just be down there digging with fire. You know what I'm saying? The way they want us to think about this. You know, think about this. They had to have more than a flame. They had to know how to have some form of electricity or some form of lighting system to be able to brighten up all this that they've created. This is not anything that is assumed. This is, they actually have went down here and they actually have evidence of what these people were capable of doing. The breaking of the ground, the building of the stone, all this stuff here. You know, they were very technologically advanced people. They lived underground and they had highly decorative tunnels, and they were excellent builders. They used to build a lot of stuff in the scripture, and we can talk about that another time. But here we have the famous subterranean city in Turkey. It is called Derinkayu. It's a multi-level underground city in Cappadocia, believed to have housed up to 20,000 people. So they had a whole lot of people living under here. So when you think about it like this, right? This was Mount Seir. This is where Seir the Horite, this is where they lived. And then who came on over? Esau. But this one's here this one's in Turkey. But there's another one we know as that's in Petra, and I'll showcase that one to you. But I'm just saying, could you imagine, you can see why he wanted to come over and link with them, because look at how they lived. You know, you follow me? But let's keep going. All right, so a cave dweller. Who is that? The Neanderthal. Yes, I see you in there, Tim. I see you in there. You did you peep at my presentation? No. But the thing is, a Neanderthal is what I'm talking about. Neanderthals are these cave dwellers. Okay, it says Neanderthals, an extinct species of early humans, are often associated with cave dwelling. And who is a cave dweller? Troglodytes. And what name does a cave dweller go to? Excuse me. What name does a cave dweller go to? It goes to the Horites. So if a Horite is a cave dweller, then that means a troglodyte, which is a cave dweller, goes to a Neanderthal, who is a cave dweller. Do you guys see where I'm going with this? I mean, come on, your sis is cooking. I'm cooking. Let's keep going, though. It says Neanderthals, an extinct species of early humans, are often associated with cave dwelling. And while they did use caves for shelter and other activities, they also lived in open air sites. And we saw where they were in these open air sites. And mind you, these Neanderthals were located in that area. They were located where you find this here is an actual skull, the skeletal remains of a Neanderthal. And where do they find this? They don't find these in Africa. They find these where? In what we would call Asia, Turkey, that area, Europe, that region over there, Asia. So here it says, many Neanderthal settlement sites are found in caves. It says caves are also well presented over time, making them easier for archaeologists to examine and find evidence of the Neanderthal habitation. It says some caves might have had extra attributes that made them more appealing, such as proximity to water and or higher elevation for accessing natural resources. So even though people want to make it like these Neanderthals were these primitive people that didn't have any, any sense, but they were these people here are saying that they built their caves next to, well, we won't even call it caves. We'll call it their cities because it was clearly a city. They built it closer to water. And they also built it so that they have certain places where it's higher, where they can reach to make, to get access to foods that must have been on trees and things like that. But let's keep going. All right. So when we look at these, people think of a Neanderthal, they think of a Denisovan. They feel like they are probably people, they probably look at them like it's make-believe, fictional. But this is actual scientific. This is actual scientific. This is historical. This is fact. They say that the modern human skull, this is a Caucasian human, so-called modern human skull. They're utilizing the Caucasian skull here. The next skeleton that I'm looking at here is the Neanderthal. And then we look at the next one, which is a Denisovan. So you look at the size compared to the modern human skull all the way to the Denisovan. Long, very, massive. So these were some giant people. So look here, this is a human molar. So this is supposed to be an average human-sized molar. And then they found the molar of a Denisovan, and look at the size compared to a human molar. Right? So these weren't any regular sized people. These people were clearly giants. They were very massive over us. But also, here we have the Etas, and they have the most Denisovan DNA and found in the world. So they're saying that these people here, they're located in the Philippines. All right, and they're located in Asia. So these are some melanated Asian people. And they have the highest amount of DNA found of these people here. Of a Denisovan. Now, the Denisovans were an extinct group of archaic humans who lived in Asia during the Lower and Middle Paleolithic and are known for their DNA evidence and interbreeding with modern humans and Neanderthals. So here we go. We have evidence. We had a skull right here. And we also have a molar showcasing the that these people actually did exist, right? And what they looked like. So also we have the Australian Aboriginals. They were actually found 12,000. They have actually found this pillar, which is they're saying is about 12,000 years old. And this pillar has a symbol that the Australian Aboriginals are known to have. They have this, they carry around this symbol. And they found the Australian Aboriginals. Now, remind you, they're called the Australian Aboriginals because they're supposed to be from Australia. But why do they have this symbol that they're finding in Turkey on themselves? And also, they have the DNA of the Denisovans who are found where? In Asia. So they're not found in Australia. Their DNA is coming from these so-called Denisovans. It says historical and genetic proof of the connections with the Denisovan and their migration patterns. It says genetic evidence indicate that the Aboriginal Australians, along with the Melanesians, carry a small percentage, around 3 to 5% of their DNA from Denisovans. And they say that they're an extinct group of archaic humans. Now, this whole out of Africa theory is being debunked right here because it's showcasing that people didn't start in Africa. What this showcases is people started over there in the Mesopotamian region over there in that area. And this showcases their travel patterns. You know, the Australian Aborigines are Japheth, right? And what they're showcasing is how they started off, you know, traveling, and then they made it all the way down to the south. But they started off in Russia. So Russia here is Asia. So Russia, Turkey, all these different places, they started off there and then they traveled down. And we have proof of that. Not only are we seeing their symbolism, but we also are seeing DNA that they gotten from a group of people that lived in that area. So let's keep going. So in the Bible story of Esau, he is described as being born with a body covered in red hair, like a hairy cloak or garment. So it says, which some interpret as a form of congenital hypertrichosis. So hypertrichosis is an actual disease or a disorder that people actually can get. And this is what Esau had. This is what he had. He had this hypertrichosis, which, as you see here, it showcases excessive hair growth all over the body. So this is what Esau would have. And it said that the Genesis account described Esau as red in all of his body. I'm telling you, this thing is moving. All of his body like a hairy cloak, which we're saying is hypertrichosis. Now, when you look here, here's more images of this hypertrichosis. And we'll also say is werewolf syndrome. They call it werewolf syndrome. And this is a lot of different people who have that disorder. Now, what I'm looking at is, when you look here, they look kind of noble, don't they? They look like they're kind of dressed like they're, you know, important. Now, it says, we're looking at the Duke title, the title of a Duke. Now, mind you, Esau was melanated. He wasn't Caucasian, but for these images that I have, they showcase showcases this disorder, but they're utilizing, of course, a white image. However, Esau was a black man. So here we go. So now we have the Dukes. We have the European title of nobility. So here we have the Dukes, and this actually looks like what Esau could have, you know, been. He could have been a royal with the hypertrichosis, and like him, we can't see what race he is, but he would have been black, okay? Now, many of these camps teach that Esau is the white man, and their explanation for this is Jacob and Rebekah having 2 children. One comes out red all over and hairy like a garment. Remember, I just talked about that. Genesis 25:25, and it says the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. Now, when we look into the Strong Concordance, right? This is from the blue letter going into the Strong Concordance. It tells us that reddish meant ruddy, okay? So right here, the word ruddy. So when we look up the word ruddy, this is what you will receive. You'll get a ruddy cow, or you can get a ruddy duck. This is what the color ruddy looks like. And if Esau was this color, then it'll be perfect. This is what black, you know, this is a melanated, this is black skin here. This is what he would be, a black man, right? Based off of looking at the Strong Concordance. Now, we're not using this stuff. We're not making this stuff up. This is out of the blue letter, and this is out of the Hebrew. And the Hebrew is saying that it's ruddy. And guess what? When you look up what a ruddy cow, what a ruddy duck looks like, that's what they are. So Esau was not a white man. He was a man that was ruddy, which is this reddish brown color. And he suffered with what we call hypertrichosis, which is this hair disorder. But here we go. Let's keep going. So it says, yes, this thing is really moving. Yes, there's evidence that's suggesting interbreeding between the Neanderthals and early humans right there. So We talked about how the Neanderthals and the Denisovan were mixing with humans and creating offspring. But when we look here, remember, it says that the Denisovan, and I'm going to go back so we can review that source again. It says, genetic evidence indicates that the Aboriginal Australians, along with the Melanesians, there's that name, carry DNA of the Denisovans, right? And it says they carried around 3 to 5%. So they didn't have much. But when we look at them, here they are today. And these are the Melanesian people. They have this blonde hair. So we look at this source. We know they had the Denisovan and the Neanderthal DNA. It says, yes, there's evidence suggesting that the interbreeding with Neanderthals and early humans contributed to the genes responsible for light hair and skin pigmentations in modern Europeans, including blonde hair. So hold on. What are you saying, Neftali? Remember, it said that these Melanesian people have the DNA. And what's that DNA? The DNA is of the Denisovan and it's of the Neanderthals. And based off this source here, is telling us that the Neanderthals are the reason why light hair, light skin, and this blonde hair, these blue eyes, all this stuff comes from these Neanderthals and these Denisovans. When you look at these Melanesians, they are melanated, but they have this blonde hair. Some of them have the blue eyes. Where did it come from? They're saying it came from that DNA that they got from those Denisovans. Now, people want to ask me, if Esau is not white, if Esau is this melanated ruddy color that you're saying to me, Neftali, then how did white people come about? Well, I'm telling you right here, they came about via Neanderthal and Denisovan. They came from that. They mixed with Esau. Esau, he came over there. He mixed with the Horite. What did Horite mean? Horite mean caveman, cave dweller, troglodytes. When we view who's a troglodyte, when we view who's a cave dweller, it links to the Neanderthal. It links to the DNA. And who shares that DNA? The Caucasians, the Asians, Native Americans, Hispanics, as well as other groups. And that's what this means. Now also, what many of these so-called scholars and One West camps continue to fail to show is how Dukes originated, how the Dukes originated. This is one of the things that they say that proves that Esau is the so-called white man, because they are the Dukes. And right here we have a Duke of Edinburgh, right here, right? It's not any of us, it's not anybody in Africa. Dukes are obviously, in Europe. And guess what? The Esau, his sons were Dukes. Well, guess who else's sons were Dukes? The Canaanites, the Horites. Yes, the Horite Canaanites were Dukes. Says it right here, Genesis 36:29, King James Version. It says, these are the Dukes that came of the Horites. Stop the show. It says, these are the Dukes that came of the Horites. So the Horites, who are the Hivites, who are the Canaanites. I know, it's a lot, but we're going to get through it today. These are the Dukes. This is Genesis 36:29. Turn your Bibles to it, guys. We can read it together. These are the Dukes that came of the Horites. Duke Lotan, Duke Shobal, Duke Zibeon, and Duke Anah. Duke Dishan, Duke Ezer, Duke Dishan. These are the Dukes that came of the Hori, among their dukes in the land of Seir. So right here we see that they were Dukes and they were in their own land, and the land was called Seir. It was before Esau got there, and these people are grown, like grown, okay? See right here it says Duke Zibeon. Who is Duke Zibeon? I'm glad you asked. Let me see, did I have a source here? Oh, right here. Duke Zibian is actually the father of, remember the woman that Esau married. He's her father, Duke Zibian. So what does that mean? What that means is that Esau married into the dukes. The reason why his children were called dukes is because he married into them. That's where this whole culture came from. This whole duke, this whole nobility, this regal, it came from the Canaanites. It came from the Hivites. We have it right here, Genesis 36:29. It tells us that these are the dukes that came of the Horites. And right here, we know that Duke Zibian is the father of of his daughter who married Esau. So Esau married the daughter of Zibian, who was a duke, and he is a Horite, who is a Canaanite, who is a Hivite. I know. Try saying that 3 times. But let's keep getting through it. We're going to get through it, and guess what? If you have any questions, please write them down, and we after this we can talk about it. But okay, here's Genesis 36:2. It says, now remember, Esau took his wives of the daughters of Canaan, Adah, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and Aholibamah, the daughter of Anah, the daughter of Zibian the Hivite. So right here, I just recited what I just said. It says, Esau took his wives of the daughters of Canaan, Adah, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and Aholibamah, the daughter of Anah, the daughter of Zibian the Hivite. And remember, right here in Genesis 36:29, Duke Zibian. So Zibian was a duke, and Esau married his daughter, Aholibamah, the daughter of Anah. Okay, and that's how Esau came in as a duke, his line. And it says here, thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is in Edom. And it says, and these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites in Mount Seir. So right here is letting us know that he was in Mount Seir. It was not Edom as of yet. It says, these are the names of Esau's son, Eliphaz, the son of Adah, the wife of Esau. So right here, remember, he had Aholibamah, right? The daughter of Anah, the daughter of Zibian. So right there lets us know about Eliphaz. So it says the sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zepho, Gatam, and Kenaz. So Eliphaz had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's keep going. All right, so these are the dukes of Esau. That is Genesis 36:15-19. It says, these were the dukes of the sons of Esau, the sons of Eliphaz, the firstborn son of Esau, Duke Teman, Duke Omar, Duke Zepho, Duke Kenaz. So right here, the sons of Esau was the son of Eliphaz. And here we see that Duke Teman, Duke Omar, and Duke Zepho are listed right along with them. And who are they? They are the Horites that are listed right here. Okay. So we're going to keep going. So right here we see that this is another duke. He's in His Royal Highness Grand Duke Travis, and these are the dukes here. They're saying of Edom, and what they're showcasing is how this culture. Who does this culture goes to? This culture links to these Europeans, and the thing is, we have to understand that the Europeans, the Canaanites or the Hivites or the Horites, is where this culture had come from originally. So it says the dukes of Esau, also known as the Edomites or Idumeans, were the chiefs or leaders of the clans of Edom. Okay, it says Genesis 36 describes the genealogy of Esau, who was also known as Edom, and the Edomites are his descendants. It says Genesis 36:40-43 lists the names of the dukes or chiefs of Esau who were leaders in the clans of Edom. However, no one mentions the Horites. Never. Don't you notice that? There's dukes of the Horites, but nobody ever mentions that. And the Horites are the Canaanites. But that's why. The Canaanites are so active throughout the Bible. They're so active. I mean, if you really sit down and if you really can decode it, I'm not going to say pay attention, we have to decode it. It says Mount Seir, Mount Seir, Mount Seir. Well, if you don't research where Mount Seir, who that links to, and it's not easy to find out because you have to understand Seir says Horite, but then you have to go look and see where it says that what was it? Zibian is a Hivite. See right there, it tells us that Zibian is a Hivite. So you have to pay attention to Zibian being a Hivite because Seir is always a Horite. Always. And once you realize that a Hivite is a Horite and a Horite is a Canaanite, then you start to be able to put things together. But it's a tongue twister. It's a tongue tie. Let's keep going. All right. So ancient Roman dukes, Roman royalty. So ancient royal dukes, they were Roman royalty. So in ancient Rome, the title dukes, from which duke is derived, so the word duke is actually derived from, and it originated with the Romans. It says originally referred to a high-ranking military commander with territorial responsibilities, later adopted by barbarian invaders and used in their kingdoms, including France and Germany. So what they're saying is that the Romans were the ones that, brought in the dukes. And then later on, that's when it spread it off to the French and the Germans, and I'm sure the British as well. So it says Herod the Great. So Herod the Great is an example that I'm utilizing right here. He's a Roman, and also he was Edomite descent. So here they're saying that this is a Roman, Herod the Great. They said specifically his father, Antipater, was an Edomite who converted to Judaism. So right here it says that he was an Edomite and his father was an Edomite. Now, remember, it showcased and it said in the scriptures earlier, if you guys remember what I brought out earlier, it talked about how the Mount Seir had the perpetual hatred for the children of Israel. It said that they had a perpetual hatred. So if the Mount Seir, it listed them, which is the Canaanites or the Hivites, they had a perpetual hatred. It would make sense why Esau would want to marry with the daughter of the people that have the perpetual hatred, because he's upset with the Shemites, right? He's upset with the Israelites. He's jealous. So why not be with these people that have had perpetual hatred with the Israelites? Now, according to the Gospel of Matthew, it says King Herod, fearing Yeshua would usurp his power, tried to have Yeshua killed by ordering the death of all male children 2 years old and under in Bethlehem and its vicinity, an event known as the Massacre of the Innocents. Now, right here, we see that King Herod, who was an Edomite, wanted to kill Christ, right? Wanted to kill Yeshua. And it was him who was an Edomite. And everybody say, well, yeah, Edomite is the end of the world. Well, we have to understand that these Edomites are Canaanites. But let's keep going. They say somebody was absorbed. Somebody was absorbed, and it was the Edomites mixing with these Hivites. So, right here, when we look at the Romans, they're the ones that are ranking. They're the ones that are in power, right? They're the high tower. They're the people that are ruling. So when we see Ecclesiastes 10:7, it says, I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth. So this is some wisdom right here. This is somebody wise speaking. He's letting us know, I've seen servants upon horses. So what does that mean? These servants, so people who aren't supposed to be ruling are now the ones on the horse. And the people that are the princes and the princesses are the people that are servants upon the earth. Why is that so? So when we look here in Genesis 9:29, it says, and he said, cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be until his brethren. So it says right here that Canaan was the servant of servants. But when we go back here to Ecclesiastes 10:7, it says, I have seen servants upon horses. And who were those servants? According to Genesis 9:25, the servant of servants are the Canaanites. So we see where things are going, right? So Esau was the ancestor of the Romans. That is true. It says in the Bible, Esau is the ancestor of the Edomites who lived on Mount Seir, southwest of Judah. So how did the rabbis come to associate Esau and Edom with Rome? Two main factors are at work here: Christianity and Herod. So they're saying pretty much the Bible and King Herod were, strong evidence to say that the Edomites were Romans. And that is true. The thing is, this whole way of them trying to tell us how they became Edom, how they became these Romans, the fact is that light skin, that white skin that they say it came from this is what they say, mixing with the Neanderthals as well as the Denisovan. All right. So guys, we're getting ready to get into something here, okay? All right. So right here is a map. I'm getting ready to break this down. This is called the Cult of Baal map. And what this is showcasing is pretty much a diagram of how the world is being ran, who's in power, and how it ends with whom in power. So let's look here. So right up here at the top showcases the Canaanites. Then it ventures to the Babylonians, which is the pharaohs. Remember the Hyksos? The Hyksos are Canaanite Amorites, and they link to the pharaohs, and then we know that they ruled on the pharaoh's throne. And then we see here with the Babylonians, who are Amorites. I have a Babylonian video I'm going to be doing. The Babylonians were Amorite Canaanites. But look who's here. We see the Romans are here. And that makes sense because the Romans are, again, Canaanites. And then we have the Vatican, which is in the middle. And we understand that the Vatican are big old Canaanites, right? The way they worship the god of Baal, okay? And everything, they even have the Illuminati on here. But everything goes down to USA, okay? All right, now we look to our right. This is a diagram, reveals the history of a powerful death cult that has ruled the earth for all recorded human history. All recorded human history. All recorded. It says, warning, this one might be a tough pill, red pill for some to swallow. And a lot of you guys are probably got your hands on your chin like, where is this girl going? But this is the truth here. This is the truth. And this is wild. Reading this and looking at this, it's like, wow. But it's so obvious and it's blatant. And we're getting ready to see why right now. All right, so Baal is the main Canaanite divinity whose cult is that of fertility, similar to the goddess Astarte. Astarte, Asherah, Tanit, thought of the wife of Baal and called also Baalat. So so Baal is the main Canaanite, main Canaanite god, and it says that his wife Astarte, Asherah, Tanit, all of them are all the same as Baalat. Everybody starts off with Baal, then it goes to Baalat, and then after that everybody's underneath them. So we see the main Canaanite divinity, the main Canaanite god of the Canaanites is Baal. Now remember this. We take a small mental note because wow, there's a city called Baalbek. Baalbek is a city. It's an actual city. Okay. Listen, you Google Baalbek. If you take your time right now and you just put in Baalbek, this is what's going to come up. It's a city called Baalbek. It's a city named after Baal. And it tells you Baalbek is a city located east of Litani River in Lebanon, Bekaa Valley. So right here, when you Google this Baalbek, it tells you it's a city in Lebanon, and this is his temple. This is his temple. This is his land. And guess what? It says here in 1998, the city had a population of 82,608. 82,000. So 82,000 people were actually living here, and that was in 1998. Could you imagine who lives there now? Because this city is still operating and this temple is still being utilized. If you Google Baalbek, take some time out and research it, you will actually see performances in there, and there was just a performance last night. And if you guys want me to, when I'm done with this, if you want to take a look at those performances and things like that, we can do that after this performance. After my performance. You see that? No, after my presentation. But let's keep going. So here we're utilizing the World History Encyclopedia. We're going to go there. And it says Baalbek is an ancient Phoenician city. So they're letting us know right here that the Baalbek is an ancient Phoenician city located in what is now modern day Lebanon. So my thing is, every time I look at these Phoenician or Canaanite cities, they're never anywhere in Africa or near Africa. But for some reason, these people are Africans. And we all have to really start questioning these people and questioning their motives and try to understand what else do you need for you to understand who these people are. So let's just read. It says Baalbek is an ancient Phoenician city located in what is now modern-day Lebanon, north of Beirut in Bekaa Valley. Inhabited as early as 9000 BCE, Baalbek grew into an important pilgrimage site in the ancient world for the worship of the sky. I tell you, all I'm doing is just scrolling this thing. Okay, it says worship of the sky god Baal and his consort Astarte, the queen of heaven in Phoenician religion. So right here, they're letting us know that this was a Phoenician city and that this was for their god Baal. Okay, so they're not hiding it. It's nothing to decipher, nothing to look into further. It's letting you know that this was it is, not was, because it still is to this day. But we're going to keep reading. It says the center of the city was a grand temple dedicated to Astarte and Baal, and the ruins of the early temple remain today. And it's telling us it's beneath the later Roman temple of Jupiter, Baal. And I don't know why they worded that. I don't know why they put that in there. It's not beneath. This is the temple. The Romans, why would the Romans? First of all, my thing is, if they want to make it like the Romans are not these people, which is they're not doing a great job because they're not trying. The city is still called Baalbek. They're still performing in this temple, which is under Baal, but for some reason they want to say it's Roman, but we know who the Romans are. So let's talk about this. The temple of Baal. So 2 Kings 10:27. It says, and they break down the image of Baal and break down the house of Baal and made it a draught house until this day. So we look in here at 2 Kings. This is 10:27. That was the King James. Now let's look at the new. I tell you, this thing is, I don't know what's up, but it is just jumping. Okay. It says, then they broke down the sacred pillar of Baal and tore down the temple of Baal and made it a refuse dump to this day. Refuse dump to this day. Okay, so what they're saying to us is they broke it down and they made it a refuse dump to this day. Now look at here. You see that? That's a dump. They tore it down. But what we got to look at is this word, these two words here. It's called a sacred pillar of Baal. And here in the King James, it's called an image of Baal. But down here, it's called a sacred pillar of Baal. Now, what is a sacred pillar? When you see these, all I'm doing, let me see why this keeps doing that. All right. All you see here are these pillars. And we always see these pillars. We always see this. And this is something that's always considered to be Roman. When you see that, you automatically think of Rome. However, these pillars are actually called Baal pillars. And this is how you know this is for the worship of Baal. This temple here was a temple of Baal. And as you see, it has his pillars on it. When we continue on, let's go back. This is the land of Baalbek. And the land of Baalbek, right? It says, the queen of heaven in Phoenician religion, the name Baalbek means Lord Baal. Are you guys listening to me? The name Baalbek, which is the name of this city, right there in the World History Encyclopedia, they say that this city, I promise you guys that it's not me doing that. I got to see if there's something going on. When you look at this city, it says Baalbek. It means Lord Baal. Now, why would they still have a city that's named Lord Baal? They have a temple that was Baal's. And you guys may be like, well, this temple is, oh no, they're still performing in this temple. Please take the time and research that. There's performances every year. And when I say there's performances, they actually have orchestras. Okay. And these people are currently living there. There's people that are currently living there. And we can go back right here, Baalbek, which is in Lebanon. And it says that there's 82,000 people. Now, that was in 1998. This is current. And people are still living there. And the city is still called what? Lord Baal. But again, nobody wants to say these are the Canaanites. Mind you guys, listen to me. The Romans are the ones that are the Canaanites. And they're the ones that are, this is what their temples, everything looks like this. And this pillar, based off scripture, it says the sacred pillar of Baal. The pillar of Baal is these pillars. It talks about it in the Bible. We see it in history, as well as them blatantly letting us know with their city. These people here are proud. They don't mind you knowing who they are. These Lebanese, their city is still called Lord Baal, and they still live there. What more do we need to know? What more do we need, right? I mean, they got people who actually are living in the city that is called Lord Baal, and they go to their temple and they perform in that temple. But again, let's keep going. So Deuteronomy 20:16 through 28, it says, but the cities of these people which the Lord thy God doth give thee for an inheritance, thou shalt have save alive nothing that breatheth. So this is what the Most High told. He said, but of the cities of these people, which the Lord thy God doth give thee for an inheritance, thou shalt save alive nothing that breatheth. So the Most High was saying, hey, you can't save these people. He wanted these people to be, destroyed. He didn't want them there anymore. It says, but thou shalt utterly destroy them, namely the Hittites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. And the Lord thy God hath commanded thee. So the Most High, he commanded them to destroy these people. He says that they teach you not to do after their abominations, which they have done unto their gods. So should ye sin against the Lord your God. So right here we see that the Canaanites are the ones who have this God. Their God is Baal, and this is the God that we Israelites kept worshiping. We didn't worship the gods of Japheth. We didn't worship these other gods. No, we were worshiping the gods of the Canaanites. And the Most High was saying, hey, so that you don't continue to worship this God, why don't you get rid of the people that the God belongs to? Fair trade, right? Well, look here. This is the state capital. And this is Baalbek. This is the temple that is in Baalbek. I mean, need I say more? These pillars, all of this goes back to Baal. But when you look here at these round archways, these are actually for Baal's wife, who is Balat or Astarte, Ishtar. It's all the same. They just different names, which are just titles. These names are just titles. They're not like, oh, Baalbek, Baal, Jupiter, Saturn, all these different names. They're all the same God. The difference is what you want to call them, like with the Horites. Horite just meant cave dweller, but that's what they were called. They were called Horites, Horim, the cave dwellers. but they were the Hivites, which are the Canaanites. So here we see this is one of the state buildings, and then we see here this is an actual temple that is within Baalbek, which means Lord Baal. I mean, come on. And let's just say, for instance, they like the architectural detail, which I don't know why anybody would. But let's just say they use this as an argument. My question to them is, why would you want an image of something of a God that's supposed to be, why would you want to live in a city of a God that's supposed to be, wicked against the Most High? Why would you want to do that? Why would you even want to entertain something like that? I want to ask that to people who still want to have a, district, that don't want to accept the information that I'm providing. I really would like to sit down with you and ask you, what is your excuse for them doing this, for their behavior? Because the city is clearly called Lord Baal, and we see that they're utilizing his temple, the images of his temple. This is his temple. This is his temple. This is his city. What more do we need? And his city is found in Lebanon. So, like I said, let's just keep going. All right, so Psalms 106, 34 through 42. They did not destroy the nations concerning whom the Lord commanded them, but were mingled among the heathen and learned their works. And they served their idols, which were a snare unto them. Yeah, they sacrificed their sons and their daughters unto devils, and shedded innocent blood, and even the blood of their own sons and their daughters, whom they sacrificed unto the idols of who? Canaan. And the land was polluted with blood. Thus were they defiled with their own works, and went a-whoring with their own inventions. Therefore was the wrath of the Lord kindled against his people, insomuch that he abhorred his own inheritance, and he gave them into the hand of the heathen. And they that hated them ruled over them. Right there. It says it. Psalms 106, 34, 42. It says that he gave them over to the heathen. So the people that the Most High he told them at the beginning. Remember, we read the scripture, and he said, I want you to destroy them because I don't want them to teach you their ways. He named all of them. He named the Canaanites. He named every single one of them. And then here he says they did not destroy them. So at the beginning, and let me show you that. I'm going to show you that. It says, but thou, this is Deuteronomy 20, 16 through 18. It says, but thou shalt utterly destroy them, namely the Hittites, Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, the Jebusites. And the Lord thy God hath commanded thee. So he commanded. He says, so they don't teach you their abominations. But what happened? We go to Psalms 106, 34, 42. He says they did not destroy them. Concerning the Lord, he commanded us. But we were mingled with them. Our ancestors were mingled with these people. They was hanging out with them. I don't think, I mean, guys, you tell me. Just tell me real quick. You think we was out there putting plates in our lips? You think we was out there, our ancestors, they wanted to make the Most High mad by putting their heads up cows' butts and stuff? I mean, I'm just trying to really logically really put this together. Okay? He commanded us, our ancestors, back in Deuteronomy to destroy these people. But he says that they were mingled among them and learned their works. And they served their idols, which were a snare unto them. And they sacrificed their daughters and their sons. All unto the idols of Canaan. Right? And it says they were defiled within their own works and went a-whoring with their own inventions. Therefore was the wrath of the Lord kindled against his people, insomuch that he abhorred his own inheritance, and he gave them over unto the heathen, into the hand of the heathen, that they hated them. Remember, we read at the beginning, if you guys were with me at the beginning. When you guys were with me at the beginning, right, it talked about the Mount Seir, which were Canaanites, had a perpetual hatred for the children of Israel. So the Most High said here, hey, I'm going to give you over to these ones that hate you. They hate you so bad, and he allowed them to rule over us. And that's what's currently happening today. So here in Deuteronomy 28, it says, but if thou shalt, it's Deuteronomy 28:15. It says, but if thou shalt, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do. And I hear all of these campers, they make sure they know these scriptures, right? They know the scriptures, the blessings and the curses. So right here it says, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. The stranger that is within thee shall get above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. So right here, it's talking about the stranger. It says that he's going to, if you do wrong, if you don't listen to the Most High, to observe him, to do what his law, statutes, and commandments, he said this is what's going to happen. The stranger, the one that's at the bottom, is going to switch places with us. And we're going to be the ones that are the tail, and they're going to be the heads. So right here in Book of Judges, for those of you that aren't aware, right? Those of you that may not be aware, the Book of Judges talks about this happening already. This happened before. This isn't the first time that this has happened. Right here, it's notated with King Jabin. Okay? King Jabin, which was in the Book of Judges, chapter 4, the Book of Judges, chapter 4. The Canaanites actually ruled over Israel. This actually took place. This actually happened. And King Jabin was actually a very, like I said, if you were with me not too long ago, I talked about how technically advanced, technically evolved these Canaanites are. Remember, I talked about how they built these, built that area, built that civilization that we looked at earlier, correct? So these Canaanites actually helped build these. You see the Egyptians on these wagons and things like that, on these, riding on these wagons and things. And these were actually built by the Canaanites. These were built by Jabin himself, and this is an actual real image. And it says, and the children of Israel again, here we go, again did evil in the sight of the Lord when Ehud was dead. And the Lord sold them into the hand of Jabin, the king of Canaan. So right there, it lets us know that he sold us. Remember what he said. He said he was going to give us to the king. He's going to give us to. He said it. He said it right here, that we will be the head. We will be the tail, and they will become the head. And right here it says that he gave them over, gave them into the hand of the heathen. Right there it tells us, and they that hated them ruled over them. And it talks about the Canaanites right here, and then it talks about how Canaan was the tail, and how Israel was the head, and how we switch places. And right here is an actual time where the Canaanites, where this actually took place. The Most High gave us into the Canaanites. We were working for them. We were their servants and their slaves. And who are we working for now? Who are we working for? We're working for the Canaanites again. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in with me. I'm sorry about how things happened. I'm trying, like I said, guys, just bear with me. This whole, like, this technology, right? It wants to act up when it's ready. You know what I'm saying? Like, just was getting everything together, then all of a sudden my internet just all of a sudden just wanted to get out. But praises to the Most High, the guy was able to come, but still, some things came. But I was able to do it today. I was able to do it today. Now this here, what I'm showing you. You see those pillars right there? These pillars. These are pillars of Baal. This is Petra. This is where the this is where they say is Esau's land. However, who lived there before Esau? Seir. It was named after him. It was called Mount Seir, and they built this structure. Esau just came in and he, you know, he ruled with them, and he took over. But all right, guys, that concludes my presentation. I'm going to close this out. One second. All right, guys. Okay, so that was the end of that. Does anybody have any questions, concerns? Well, thank you so much, Rachel. Thank you so much for the donation. Tawada for all your hard work, Koti Natalie. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Okay, all right. Let me see here. Sorry, guys. Just bear with me. Cecil Fletcher, thank you so much for this super sticker. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, guys. And if anybody wants to definitely support, I truly would appreciate it. You can actually send it to my Cash App. That'll definitely help too. Let me put that up there for you. There we are. Okay. Now let me look in this chat. Blessings unto you. Thank you, Stacy. Thank you for taking out the time to check me out. You can watch anything, but you watched me. Thank you. You said you love true lessons about the Canaanites. You know, the Canaanites are a people, right, that are all throughout the Bible. This is the people who we keep getting into captivity over. We're worshiping their gods, but all of a sudden nobody tends to put the pieces together. It's because they don't want it to. You know, I was actually looking at just sitting back and, you know, talking with people. Like I've been really sitting back and just really talking and listening to people because I want their point of view. I want their perspective. And when I asked them, what information do you really have to support that these African people are the Canaanites? Only thing they can do is just look me in my face and just walk away and act like they don't know what I'm talking about. All of a sudden, all this, you have all this momentum. Oh, but let's see. Oh, thank you, William the Slayer. Thank you so much. But what you got here, you say, yes, my question is, do you think graphing played a major part in them losing their melanin or color? Ooh, you know what, sis, Nikichi? I don't want to say your name wrong, but you know, shout out to you. I see you all the time, and I'm gonna invite you guys on if you want to come up here with me. Let me go ahead and drop that link. Anybody that wants to come on with me, please come on up. Okay, so listen to this. You asked me about their losing the melanin. Well, a lot of, you know, this false teaching is that people, you know, went north. That's why they're, no, it's more you would love to, but you're driving. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to link up with you. Okay, so you hit me up when we can do something. But and anybody else, this link is for anybody that wants to come on, and don't hesitate to ask me questions. Okay, thank you for sharing that, Rachel. All right, so this is what it is. Okay, with their melanin, they say that came from the Denisovan and the mixing with the Denisovan as well as the Neanderthal. Now the Neanderthal is mixed with what? Nephilim and Nephilim hybrids. So that's where their skin tone it left. Okay, and they're who they are today, the blonde hair. And this is science. This is scientifically proven. This is scientifically is what they're teaching. They're teaching this, okay? And this is nothing to put anybody down. I want to make sure everybody understands that this is just history. This does not reflect who people are today. I break that down, Nikichi. I don't know if you saw it. I don't know if you made it to my whole presentation, but those of you that, like I said, I had a whole thing, made me a whole hour late, and I do apologize for that. But thank you guys so much for, sticking it out with me. But yes, I talked about that at the beginning, where I talk about the Denisovan and the, the Neanderthal, and how they say that the reason this light skin, this blonde hair, all of that, blue eyes, it actually originated, and it came from it came from them. And we have sources to, defend that thesis. Okay, now what you say here? Do you believe the flood was global or local? If global, how did the Canaanites mix with the Neanderthal after the flood? You know what? Overkill gaming. We have to remember that as well. Canaan was pre-flood, so he's been around, for a long time. Canaan was there now we don't know if he was being born on the on the ark. However, the thing is, he was right there. He was present. And with that, the flood was global. The flood was it took out the whole world. Everything had to start over. So yes, I believe that it was the whole thing was global. And you said, how did he mix with them? What Canaan was on the ark. So his lineage, carried on, just as Isaac and Jacob and all of them, started to go on down from them on the ark, Shem on the ark. Now, what we got here? You say fallen angel blood. Yeah, we're getting it. We're getting there. We're going into the fallen angels. That's where we're headed with that. The Denisovan, and this is a scientific fact. This is nothing being made up. The Denisovan and the Neanderthal have variants. They have some what they would call subhuman. Okay, they're not fully human. They're human hybrids. So with that, we have to understand, where did this DNA come from? Because this is nothing that is being, nobody's making this stuff up. This is scientifically proven. They have the molars, they have skulls, they have the fossils of the remains of these, people, and they were not fully human. So what we're going to say is that they're the offspring, and what the Bible talks about is the fallen angels. Okay. Hey, Shalom, most I bless to you, Sharshan. Thanks for coming on by. Okay. Shalom, Tracy. What you got here? You said the Bible says that the angels transgressed before and after the flood. That's a good one, Tracy. That is a fact. Scripture says it. It's all there in the scripture. And you say, Nikichi, remember Rob Six, I don't know how to say that, proved how women carry that recessive Gaint gene. Well, I'm gonna have to look into that. Rob Skibbs or Six something. Genesis 6:4. Okay, that's a powerful one. That is. You say they never tell me. They never tell you that I'm live. It's not even you though. I'm not even going to blame them, because I've been having problems and issues. Hey guys. Hold on 1 second. I'm live, guys. Okay. You're okay. Go. But it could be I didn't help. How about that? I didn't help the situation, because I was supposed to be live at 3:15 and didn't go live until 4. But thanks for popping up. You got to check out my presentation though, guys. And if you haven't seen the whole thing, please go back and watch it, because I really, it's a whole process. It's a build up. Yeah, so like I said, if you guys weren't with me, I'm supposed to be having a debate with this young lady on this channel here. I'm having a debate. I'm broadcasting it on this channel against this. Her name is Dr. Too Sweet, and she's an actual doctor, and she's into psychology and psychiatrist, and she's talking about evolution, and she's teaching her daughter and teaching all these people about evolution, which is sad. So she and I are going to actually have a debate. I can't wait for that. So I'm going to be premiering that on this channel. Also, I got coming up is another video. It's going to be pretty fun. It's a premiere. And what I'm doing is I'm going to showcase how, extraterrestrial technology and how people, who we consider to be geniuses, this information, this technology, you sit back and you wonder, like, how would anybody think of this? How would they know to do this? All this, advancements. And a lot of this was actually taught by the fallen angels, right? We see that in the book of Enoch. So we're going to be looking into Steve Jobs and his journey. And Steve Jobs has a very interesting background, and I'm going to be showcasing a premiere on that because these so-called iPhones and iPads and all that kind of stuff, it has a root somewhere, and it lies somewhere with this extraterrestrialism. Okay. And you said Rob sick, but don't text and drive. Oh my goodness. You said we don't have the same number of DNA strands. Some have 9. Oh, let me pull it up here. You said we don't have the same number of DNA strands. Some have 9 and some have 6, others 5. Okay. All right. You say what there? Neanderthal, blonde hair, blue eyes, Caucasian. That's right. And again, my Caucasian friend, William, the New Testament comes in, Christ decides it's not what happened in the Old Testament is, we have the new one. But to be truth and to be with you guys, we all have to know about the history. We all have to know our history, and we all have to understand what's going on. We all know that these people tend to, some reason, I don't know why, don't want to accept this information. I'm like, and I ask them to come on and I say, let's have a conversation. It doesn't even have to be a debate. I really want to know what you have, because I'm not the type of person that likes to come on and teach lies. I'm the type of person that wants to come on and teach truth, because at the end of the day, I have to answer for this, right? Christ is going to get me. So I don't want to get up here. So I ask people, hey, I'll come on your show. You can come on mine. Let's just sit down. Let's actually have a conversation. And they don't have anything. Or when they do provide me with information, it's like, that's it. That's all you have. I have all this here, a boatload of stuff, and you come to me with that. But hey, you say Steve Jobs was Lebanese? Okay. And you know what? That all links up. And when I talk about Steve Jobs, I'm really going to be going into Buddhism, Hinduism, all that kind of stuff, because that's, people who are doing yoga, all those methods are actually to bring about gods, bring about their deities. And that's the way that they, get them to come, conjure the spirits and things like that. So we're going to, it's just a video. It's fun. And I can't wait for you guys to see it. It's not long, but it's informative. You say it's the bloodlines of the royals and the elite of Babylon, not all white people. Well, maybe true. Now, there is a bloodline of the royals and the Babylonians now. And I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to be doing a Babylonian video. I'm debating if I should do it live or if I should do a premiere, because when I do it live, although I do a presentation, it doesn't, I can't showcase the videos like I want to. But yes, and the Amorites, who are the Canaanites, were the Babylonians. And their bloodline, as we see, there is a group of people who want to keep their bloodline. And those people, those Khazars, you know, they're the ones that are, you know, in charge right now. All right, so you say ancient Iranian bloodlines. Hey, you go over there, that's where, I mean, come on. They had a whole, and there's a whole city called Lord Baal. What more do we need though, guys? What more? And it's still here. And you know, while I'm here, let me see if I can come up with the video. I let me see. 1 second. All right, guys, I'm back. Okay, so this, remember we talked about Baalbek, right? We talked about, 1 second, let me take you down. Okay, so remember we talked about Baalbek, which is the city that is now, it's called Lord Baal. It's always been called that. And then they have the temple, which is Baal's temple. And I was telling you that they actually, you know, they try to make it like this city is old and all, but there's people, over almost 100,000 people that are currently living there. And they have a festival in this temple every year. So let me go ahead and present this to you. All right, guys. So when you look at this, hold on, I'm going to take the volume off 1 second. All right, so looking at this, right? So looking at this, you see back here, this is Baal back there. If you can make him out, that's him. And can you guys hear what I'm saying? One second, I want to make sure. All right, guys. So I thought I could talk with you, but I can't at the same time. But that's fine. All right, guys. So right here in the back, you will see that that's actually Baal. Now, when you look at these, what we would consider to be the Baal pillar, which is actually a fertility. It represents the male phallus. This is actually a fertility symbol. That's why when we see the erected, or what we would consider to be when you look at they have a phallus of a male. I'm trying to think of what that's called. One second. All right, so we talk about the George Washington Monument. Those people talk about those being like a phallus. Well, that all goes to Baal. That all is contributed to Baal. And now there's also that archway. The archway represents the feminine. Okay, represents the woman's vaginal area, right? It represents her fertility. So what that is Baal's is the phallus, and then the arch, which is the woman, which is Ishtar, or if you want to call her Astarte or Bilat, whichever name you want to give her, but that's her symbol. So what we see in this temple, and this is his temple, this is you see right there, if you Google, not giggle, but if you Google and you put in there Baalbek International Festival. Now, we looked at that earlier. If you guys were with me earlier, you saw that Baalbek, according to the Encyclopedia World History, Baalbek means Lord Baal. And so what does this break down? It says Baalbek, which means Lord Baal's International Festival. Right there. They're doing it right in our faces, guys. They're doing it right in our faces, and they're letting us know. They're letting us see. They're showcasing it. And they're proud. But the thing is we're waking up and we see it, and that's okay. But anyway, let me stop that, and 1 second. There we go. Now, any questions? DM, you said, Shalom, family. May our Father in heaven bless your household and many. Thank you. Love the blessings. You say, who is Astarte? An actual female goddess? Yes. Astarte is a goddess. Excuse me for a second. Astarte is a goddess, and her, what we can call her alias or her nicknames, or her, she has different, titles. And so whenever you see the goddess Ishtar, whenever you see the goddess Astarte, the goddess Balat, Tiamat, there's another one, Balat, all of them. But the main one is Ishtar, and it's called an Ishtar gate. And Ishtar is the goddess of the gate of the gods, and that's the gateway. So when everybody talks about you going into the gateway, you're actually, and then people tell you that the phallus and then that archway represents the feminine region. However, nobody tells you that that's Baal's symbol, and the other one is Ishtar's, and that's Ishtar's gate, and the gateway into knowledge, into the gods, the gate of the gods. And you say they love them an obelisk. LOL, I'm starting to think if they have an obelisk, then it's a Canaanite tribe. You know what, Nikichi, let me tell you. The reason why we're in captivity as we speak is because we are the ones that love obelisk. Apparently, our ancestors love the obelisk, and they love this, and we're not a Canaanite tribe. But the thing is, we got to have our eyes out on these people. You said, I mean, they love Hebrews and Gentiles and alike in Yeshua. You said, I mean, they have a love to Baal, so much they even have Balfour declarations. They have never stopped worshiping their God. We're the ones that stopped worshiping our God. We're the ones. The Most High, Christ, the Most High, they were pleading with us, literally pleading with us. You stop worship. When I read the scripture, and I tell you, out of everything, this really hurt me, because he said, you're taking my babies, the babies you have for me, and you're killing them for another God. But he said those was his babies. We understand that he loves us, right? But to see that, he had to look down upon our ancestors, taking their children and giving it to this God. And he had to sit back and watch. And he loved us so much that he showed us so much mercy that, he died for us. He died for these sins. However, here we are again, and we're all trying to get ourselves together. We all are trying to, rebuild. But these people are still out here, and they're still running, and they're still ruling the world. And the thing is, in order to keep themselves up, they got to put you down. And one thing I love about these so-called 12 tribes chart pushers, these so-called campers, these so-called people that are supposed to be, believers in the Bible, the teachers, the leaders, the priests, the deacons and all this kind of stuff. But when you try to, talk to them, have some information, you have some knowledge, they don't even want to give you a time of day. They don't want to give me a time of day with this information. And it starts to make me look at them like, well, who's more important, these people or is Christ? And for the longest time, it's always been these people. They don't care to even, in 5 minutes of your time to even talk to somebody about it. Hey, but at the end of the day, I don't have to answer to them. What you got here? You say Rome became the dragon/jackal, Tannin, Leviathan by the name Latinus, the son of Lotan, son of Seir, the Horite, that Esau joined with. That's right. He joined with Seir, the Horite. The land that he took over was the land of Seir. If you guys are just tuning in with me, I talk about all of that. That's why this presentation is a full breakdown. So you have to start from the beginning and watch it to the end to get the whole understanding. But yes, that's correct. Lotan, the Horites, they are the ones that they had Mount Seir had a perpetual hatred for the children of Israel, perpetual hatred. And what ended up happening is Esau joined in with them. The one thing that Isaac said, he says, do not get a woman of the Canaanites. That's the one thing they said, please do not get a woman of the Canaanites. No. And what ended up happening? That's what he did. He got the woman of the Canaanites because he knew that he had a hatred for the children of Israel, that he knew that the Canaanites had a perpetual hatred. So it only made sense for him to link up with them. What you say, trying to come out of her? How do you come out of her? You said, Overkill. The only Israelite teachers I like are you and Zion Lex and the people you guys bring on. You don't know how much that means to me. Respect, you know. And like I said, I'm trying to, you know, do better, you know, be more organized, because today I was a whole hour late. But I have a reason. I was trying to upload my intro, my new intro, and I didn't know it was going to be so. I thought it was just going to be a quick upload. It ended up taking forever, but I was able to go. What'd you say? Satire is a goat man. Yeah, that's the hypertrichosis. He said, kind of wild, like a wild man of Europe. Okay. You said gaming. Oh, I'm glad that when TCA was in the right mind, he recommended Sister Nell. You know, that hurts me, Nikiti, that we don't have him anymore. But we all go through our little, you know, our times, our moments. I hope that he, you know, gets back. But I have been reaching out to him. I have. And, you know, not only am I, you know, not just telling him to come onto my channel, but to actually sit down and have a conversation and try to figure out what happened. Because he was on the right track. He understood, you know, for him to, like you said, to bring me around. I mean, you know, he, you know, first of all, I'm a woman and I'm speaking, you know, kind of crazy, right? But hey, I got sources. I'm very thorough. I'm a data analyst by trade, and that's what I do. I analyze data. What you got to say, 3T? You say I speak the idiots. The what? What is that supposed to be? Language? Great to be a Canaanite, but look well who's calling others a Canaanite. You said it's great to be a Canaanite? You want to come on, and I'm gonna drop the link for you if you guys, anybody wants to come up. You said something happened to TCA? Yeah, TCA is no longer a Bible believer. Can you believe? For somebody to make it up that high, you know what I'm saying? And his information was great, you know, and he brought me on. I don't know what happened, but you know, I have been reaching out to him personally, and I just hope that, you know, I'm gonna continue to pray for him, and you all pray for him too. Let's pray for him, and hopefully we, you know, get him back on track. What'd you say, Nikisha? You said Yahuwah is in control, and that's all that matters. The heart of man is fickle, and you know what? That I have to sit back and remind myself of that. You know, he's the one that's in control, because you know, people just they disappoint me. My people, they disappoint me. You know what I'm saying? Like, just looking at they get upset with me. Like, it's personal. Like, this is a personal attack. I don't use any vulgar language. I don't yell. I don't scream. I'm very, you know, polite and understanding. But so far in this truth, I've been called an idiot. I've been called excuse my language, a bitch. You know, been blocked, been, you know, told not to come on, you know, and it's like all because of me sharing this information. But I can't, you know, get mad, because why would they didn't listen to the Most High? Why would they listen to me? But he's the one that's in control. I'm just here to share. And if anybody has any information they want to share with me, that they want to say to me, here's the link. And it doesn't have to be anything like a battle. It can just be like how we're having a conversation now. You say Hebrews 12:16, that no one is sexually immoral or unholy like Esau, who sold his birthright for a single meal. Hey, a birthright, right? And you have to think about it like that. Oh, okay. Did you? Let me see if I.
Oh, I'm part. I'm part.
Can you hear
I'm
me?
still, yes, can you guys hear me? I'm still waiting on my cousin,
Yeah.
but
Are
I'm
you
parked.
talking?
Can you guys hear me?
Are you talking?
Okay, it's delayed.
I can't hear you. Something's going on. I can hear you, but I can't hear you. I can hear you. Hold on 1 second. Something's on my end. Oh, I got it muted. Okay. All right. Can you talk now?
Yes, I can.
All right. I can hear you. Shalom, most high bless to you.
Same to you. Same to you, sweetheart. I decided to jump in because we have a very hard time.
You still there? You still there? All right. 1 second. I'm not hearing you. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Okay, I can hear you now.
I'm so sorry. My husband just called me about our baby. I'm so sorry. So yes,
Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead.
yes, so I wanted to touch on the fact that just the whole trying to trace bloodlines and origins. I know some people bring up the Bible verse stating that it's an irrelevant task almost. But with the information that we have now, I feel as though it's a very necessary evil or task to do, or blessing to do rather, because of having to sift out the multitudes of lies that the enemy has basically put in place for us to not look at race or culturalism as a problem. When we finally streamline, okay, who are the Hivites, who are the Jebusites, who are the Sionites, who are these people, it kind of puts in place why when black people sit down and look at the black community as a whole and say, hey, what is our problem? So I wanted to just continue to encourage you in your research and your studies as well. um and it's tough because we have people that are Edomites, right? I'm Nigerian, so I see people who are Edomites. I know them as Edo, Benin, Igala, all these different names, and I'm just like, how do you not see that this is the progenitor of your tribal group? And it's not just because I'm Igbo, but how do you not see that this is the progenitor of your tribal group? And a lot of people have an issue with it because it is painful. They don't want to realize that, oh, that they're melanated, they look black, but to the core of them, they don't have this bloodline connection. But like you stated before, all glory to God, because we don't have to be worried about being redeemed, because we do believe in Yahusha. He was able to redeem all of us, those that are interested anyway, and still believe.
Facts, and you're bringing out some really great points. And like you said, we don't have to do all the the fine tuning, but yeah, like you said, doing the research, and I think a lot of people have to come out of their feelings and just
Yeah.
look at what the information says. It says what it says. You know what I'm saying? When you break it all down, when you look at the scriptures, when you look at the history as well as science, the
Mhm.
DNA, genetics, archaeological findings. I say to myself, what more do you need?
Exactly.
What
And
more?
I'm actually in a Igbo um studies class that I joined Saturdays for Sabbath. That's what I enjoy doing now. And there's a gentleman there who is Caucasian. He is Jewish by, I guess, belief in tradition. And some of the points that he makes it is very upsetting because he just doesn't see how he is not a true Hebrew, but he's just like, yeah, the same with the Canaanites. They were once black and now they're white. They have white descendants, right? And I'm like, but the Hebrews were meant to be a solely, purely melanated group of people that did not mix their blood consistently, to be able to be righteous and to keep the traditions of the Most High. And like you said, people get stuck in their feelings. They, no matter how much information you show them, because I kept explaining to him, like, I kept asking him, what's your origin? And he's saying Khazarian. And I'm like, Khazarians came from where? And he's like, well, they're Germanic in origin. And I'm like, and Germans are like, I kept having to go back with him, but then he'll say, oh, at some point our group didn't um flood into Africa. And I'm like, possibly so. Let's say they didn't, but you will still have to be Hebrew by your father's genetic, your mother's genetic as well, right?
That's
And
right.
it's just a disconnect that as a whole they have. And I keep seeing, I live in Georgia, so I see where some of these camps go out preaching or doing whatever they're doing with their soapboxes. And it's very disheartening because I'm just like, you have the right fire for God but spewing lies of the enemy. And it's just one of those catch 22s. I remember when one of them was saying the whole Azarath theory of America being the Holy Land, that we're already in Israel. And I'm like, so what about the second Exodus? And when they talk about the Bible, a verse where I believe it's in second Ezra, that the Israelites will be dispersed beyond the rivers of the Euphrates. And I always ask them, where is the Euphrates? The Euphrates rivers branches out into parts of Africa, Europe, and Asia,
That's
right?
right. You're
And
over there by Ethiopia.
in Ethiopia, and it says beyond that river. So when you go beyond, it's still within the same region. Beyond doesn't mean you're crossing an ocean to get to a place,
No.
right? So
No.
if we know geographically the Euphrates is literally like almost a three-way water route, right? That touches essentially two continents, but let's call the Middle East or that branch of Africa, Europe, let's call it whatever, right? It still hits. It still hits Africa. And when the Bible speaks in absolutes, we cannot tweak it to adjust what we want to hear and what we accommodate for us to now feel better. So I know your work is painstakingly um gruesome, but you're doing the right thing.
Well, thank you. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
I
And I
love
and I will get to you with the Women of the Bible study. I had the baby, but it's definitely still
congratulations
brewing.
to you guys.
Thank you. Thank
Congratulations
you.
to you and your husband.
Thank you.
But yeah, I want to actually talk about the Nigerians, you all, how they want to say you guys are the Canaanites, and
It
I
it
want
it it
I want
makes
to
me
debate.
laugh. I actually found out the Igbo word for Passover, which admittedly I was born here, so I know the language, but no learning new words is difficult for me. So I can speak what I speak, but to learn some of the deep rooted words is difficult. But my husband grew up in Nigeria, and when we talk about Passover, he describes the event that they do in Igbo land, where the men, where it used to be the men, women, and children, everybody in the village will trek into the forest, right? And they will stay there for some times. They'll stay there for some days and
Okay.
have a feast.
Oh.
And I'm like, is that not what we're supposed to do when it comes to Passover, right? And
Yeah.
so my husband says because of, just Christianity and different things watering down that tradition, that now it's only the men that, and when he said they tie their waists and they paint themselves black to show suffering, or like to show sorrow, and they go into the bush. I'm like, doesn't the Bible say to gird your waist and put on your sandals, like, because you're supposed to be in a haste, and you're literally
Yes.
describing to me a a tradition that Igbos are still upholding, that is very reminiscent to the Passover time, right? And we get so caught up on, oh well, Nigerians don't eat unleavened bread, right? And I'm like, yeah, we don't eat it because we were disconnected from that landmass where grains were more prevalent. It's the same way, um, it's the same way the when the slaves were brought over, they didn't have the same resources that they had back in West Africa. They had to now um cultivate their food differently, right? When I tell people, when I tell people, what's the difference between jambalaya and jollof rice, or what's the difference between fufu and gari? What is the difference, right? There's
Mm-hmm.
It's literally the same type of food, but tweaked to accommodate the current living situation. So when people don't see those connections, it can be frustrating, but literally, it's annoying when they try to lump all the Nigerians to being Canaanites, or to being Edomites, or just Ham, right? That annoys me the most, right? Because I'm like, you guys love to be on the street corners yelling, oh, uh you know kinky nappy hair like Ham, but Ham would have had straight hair, right? And I'm like,
Exactly.
have y'all never gone to a farm? Or I grew up in Georgia, and I've also had the privilege to live in Nigeria, where there are sheeps and goats everywhere, and a goat's hair is straight. And when I tell you, touch a sheep's uh hair, and then touch your hair, it is the same. It is the same.
And they talk
So
about it, but not to cut you off, I just wanted to ad lib on what you said. They talk about the so-called nappy hair, but isn't Christ the one supposed to have hair like wool?
that
So
part,
and they preach this, and then they say that, it says, he's Christ is like he was burned in the furnace. But when I hear them talk about uh these, no, African,
dark crispy Africans.
yes, dark
And I'm like,
crispy.
so if something is burnt in a furnace and it's already bronze, I'm like, did y'all not study chemistry and what happens to elements when they get get placed in a furnace? It's going to be darker. It's going to be pitch
Is that
black.
where the crispy come from? When you say something is burnt, isn't that
Right.
crispy? I
Crispy
mean,
is means burnt, right?
they
So
might.
it's a terrible plea. And I said this I wanted to say this in my Igbo class yesterday. It's a terrible plea, because a lot of our men and women have an obsession with just their love for the oppressor, that they're willing to accommodate things that don't make sense in order to justify the people that they married. And
Wow.
when I look at Judah in particular, and just his testaments and what he expressed, having married Canaanites, and what gets me angry is when they say Tamar had to have been a Moabite or Jebusite and wasn't a daughter of Israel. And I'm like, the only reason why God allowed for such a heinous thing to happen is to purify that bloodline, because all Judah's other wives were Canaanites and random women, right? But I'm like, hey, y'all love them so much, you're willing to conquer whatever lie comes to your head to justify why you lust after a particular type of women, opposed to loving the women who look just like you, and the men too, because our women are no better. um and it's just a mess. It's a very sorry excuse for people to try and weasel their love for interracial, or their love for not knowing the truth, into such a beautiful redemption story that's going to be us children of Israel being redeemed one day.
And you're bringing out some good points. And one second, Stacy Shaheed, thank you so much for the Cash App. I truly appreciate it. I truly appreciate your support. Thank you so much. And also, I want to make sure I thank um, Diane Hamilton as well. If you're watching, Diane Hamilton, thank you so much for the donation. Truly appreciate it, guys. You guys don't know how much that means to me to get those donations. So sending it to my Cash App up here, ADUIC 777, truly be greatly appreciated. But thank you, Diane, as well as you, Stacy. Now, what you were saying, though, Nkechi, is on point. There is scripture, though. There is scripture that showcases Tamar was a Shemitic woman. We don't have to speculate. We actually have scripture that says it. And like you said, you're people, and you can definitely tell that you have a lot of logic. You work on a lot of logic, and you work on you think clear. You're not emotional. You know what I'm saying? And people who are emotional are the ones that's, name calling. Oh, you got nappy hair, you're crispy black, or you showcasing them eating raw, eating animals or whatever. They making it's all a play on emotions. But when I do it, I have videos of their people doing the worst things. And when I show it to them, then they get all upset and mad. Oh, Robert Benjamin, thank you so much. Excuse me. Thank you so much for the super sticker. I truly appreciate it. Thank you. But what
I'll
are you saying, MPG?
I'll say this before I have to hop off. And thank you so much for this opportunity and this message about the Edomians. But I'll say traveling is the best thing anybody can do, because it helps bridge the gaps and fill the lack of education that is happening in the US. When I had the opportunity to go to Mexico, um, and just to see how they would worship almost these pale figures. They would deify people with six fingers and six toes. They will deify people, we will call them people with disabilities now, but they will deify these people because they said that they look more like the gods that they descend from, essentially, right? And for me it was just an epiphany moment, because I'm like, a lot of their deities and god figures look like the same, you know the what's the hairy people that you showed? I forget the name of them.
Hypertrichosis.
Hypertrichosis. They look like that.
They have werewolf syndrome.
and that's what a lot of these Native American deities, how they would depict them, looked like.
Mm-hmm.
But I would challenge these, brothers on the streets that are spewing these lies. Go to Cameroon or Igbo land in Nigeria, and you will see that everything about our culture encompasses Hebrew culture.
Yes.
Everything down to our men being respectful to the fact that if their wives are on their menstrual cycle, leave them alone for 8 days. I know it's a culture that's dwindling out, but that's how I grew up seeing my parents. That's how I grew up seeing certain family members or just certain traditions that we kind of just brushed off and said, "Oh, that's normal." But it wasn't until I got older that I realized what's in the Bible is literally what we have been practicing as a tradition.
That's right. That's right. And when I look at a lot of the you all's history, and I have maps where it showcases that where Ephraim was
Hmm.
located was actually in Nigeria, and then you all
Hmm.
have leaders and people that are actually named Ephraim,
Hmm.
and yeah, and so
And the land of Seth is literally Igbo land.
that's right. And I'm actually going
Hmm.
to be doing. Hold on, let me get this. I want to showcase it to you guys. I'm actually going to be doing a response, a rebuttal to Deacons. He did a video on the Canaanites,
Hmm.
and he said it was the Nigerians,
Hmm.
and so I'm
And
going
and
to
I love to give you any information. I know I'm super busy, but like I said, the truth has to be out there. Just even reading some of the comments from 3T. I'm not going to call anyone. I'm just going to be Ruach Kodesh led, but the first thing is, when it comes to eating people and starting civil wars, there's so many case studies, historical evidence that proves the Igbo people did not start a civil war. That was a means to basically um a genocide that occurred. My dad is a survivor of the Biafra. I have so many relatives that are survivors of that war, and an entire country tried to cut off just one tribal group's resources, one tribal group's um income, one tribal group's livelihood, because they kept trying to kill us off. They tried to do it with inter-country wars, civil wars. They tried to do it with the slave trade. They by selling our men by the boatloads, thinking that they will cut us off. They did it with the Biafra War, which was the most recent civil war that they had. And for some reason, we keep multiplying. We keep coming back. So I just wanted to address that. And Igbo people don't eat people. Our culture, we're not even allowed to touch dead bodies, unlike the Fulani people or Yoruba people. We don't do certain things where we even touch dead flesh, right? So it's a lot of misconceptions out there because, like you said, people are sadly butthurt when they trace their roots and realize that, oh, this is the origin. But that's why Yahuwah sent the Redeemer, because you don't have to suffer the pain of what your ancestors did. But one thing you have to do is acknowledge who are his select, who are his chosen people.
That's right. You're preaching to the choir. You're putting out some good facts here, and you're
And
reassuring, which I already know, right? We
Mhm.
already know. Uh, Now I did read, and not that I have you on here,
Mhm.
it says that it doesn't really get all that sunny there. Like you guys have some form of, you know, something with the weather. Does it get sunny out there? Is it just gloomy all the time?
The region is a tropical and grassland region. There is something called salmon time where the air does get dry, exceptionally dry, and it's almost like daylight savings without us giving it a name. Um, but I thought that was across all of Nigeria. I don't know if it's just for our particular region.
No, I'm talking about for the whole country. You know, they were saying pretty much like you know, with the and it looks like they're still worshiping these deities, these different gods. And they're saying that like the Most High took away their sunshine and caused drought. But you know, there's something that
I
you and
will,
I can actually talk about, or you know, I'm
yeah,
going to look into it some more.
yeah. Whatever information you get, definitely send it to my Instagram. We how we chat through there. But I would love to read more about that. I lived there for many years. And I'm sorry to say I see the difference. What it goes beyond just looking at people and saying, "Oh, you're black or you're brown skin." It literally is deep rooted in characteristics and traditions.
And that's right.
And
So guys, um, oh, did you have something you want to say, and Keith?
Oh
Y'all
no,
just go.
I was just going to say thank you. I'm going to head into where I've been sitting outside now. But thank you. God bless all of you. And I can't wait for the next video.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your support, and most God bless to you too.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So my sis came on here and dropped a few bombs, but right here you guys see my best friend. No, this is we see Deacon up. Well, he's not Deacon anymore. He's priest. Okay, we see priest up here, and he did a video called "Who Are the Canaanites Today?" And I've been meaning to do a rebuttal or a response to this video. So real soon, I'm going to put together something, and just going to, well, actually, I'm just going to sit here and we're just going to listen to it, and I'm just going to rebuttal what he says and showcase why he's wrong and how he's wrong. Not just why. A lot of people want to get up here and tell somebody that they're wrong, but they don't present any information. All they do is just tell you how they feel. It's not about how you feel. It's about what is the truth. Okay, so right here we see who are the Canaanites today. If you guys, real soon I will be doing a live with that. What you say here, 3T? Oh, hey, Shalom, Elder Tashaka, Most High bless to you. You got to start from the beginning and watch my video, okay? Really good information on here. Any of you, if you haven't made it to the started from the beginning, please, that's where my presentation is, okay? All right. Now you say they are still trying to get us to be with them in their Biafra, but we reject them at every turn. They keep trying to change our history to get us out, get to be with them, but we reject them at every turn. That's right, we need to continue to do that. You said like, share, and subscribe. Please like, share, and subscribe for me. What you got here, Hebrews and Gentiles alike? You says, plus let's be real, Canaanites were like this. They this. Well, that's true too. Once you say get this out, well, thank you. You don't believe in the Bible, you just like listening. Well, I must not be doing my job if you just listening to me, because you should be getting feeling, like, hey, maybe I should, believe in this Bible, because sis is providing me with some, some points here. But anyway, this is going to be really quick. What's really going to hold me up is trying to make sure I navigate this screen and my sound and everything is going well. So that's the only thing that is going to be hard, because what he's talking about is I'm going to have to pause and stop and make sure you can hear me and make sure you can hear him. So all those things I just want to fine tune. and practice. But other than that, this information that he's saying is, trust me, it's like, it's trash. I can just, I wouldn't want to talk to me either. He blocked me in his chat. I would block me too. Oh gosh, I love a good laugh though. I love a good laugh, But anyway, let's see. All right. But doesn't look like we have any more, anybody wanting to hit the link, come on with me, or anybody has any questions. Does anybody have any questions? Because I'm going to go ahead and end this presentation. Does anybody have anything they would like me to talk about real quick? Okay. Well, again, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. I know I was a whole hour late, but I promise you this next one I'm going to be right on time. Like I said, I don't know what the problem was. I had this doggone internet issue yesterday, but I managed to get here, and that's all that matters. So, guys, again, I thank you all so much for coming on. And let's see here. And Most High bless.